negaraku, aku anak Malaysia, ku bangga tanah tumpahnya darah. Aku anak Malaysia, segalanya untuk anak-anak kita.
Prime Minister heads home after successful three-country visit. Postpone travel to Vietnam and Thailand. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching World Today with me, Daryl Baptist. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim departed for home after the final leg of his three-country visit in Africa, marking Malaysia's renewed efforts to strengthen engagement with the continent. The chartered Malaysia Airlines aircraft carrying the Prime Minister left the State Pavilion Terminal of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at 12 a.m. Malaysian time today to Kuala Lumpur International Airport, or KLIA. The Prime Minister is scheduled to arrive in Kuala Lumpur later the same day. The Prime Minister was accompanied by Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, Minister in the Prime Minister's Office, Federal Territory, Datuk Seri Zaliha Mustafa, senior government officials, as well as a delegation of business leaders. The Prime Minister made a landmark visit to Ethiopia to intensify engagement with the African continent through the headquarters of the African Union in the country's capital, Addis Ababa. From Addis Ababa, the Prime Minister travelled to Johannesburg, South Africa, for a working visit to attend the G20 Leaders Summit before heading to Nairobi, Kenya. During his official visit to Nairobi, both Malaysia and Kenya agreed to elevate and renew their long-standing bilateral relations to a strategic partnership, marking a historic milestone in the two nations' 60-year diplomatic ties. Met Malaysia has issued a continuous rain warning level danger, expected to persist until tomorrow, involving Perlis, several districts in Kedah, Kelantan and Besut in Terengganu. The affected areas in Kedah are Langkawi, Kubang Pasu, Kota Seta, Pokok Sena, Padang Terap, Yan, Pendang and Sik, while in Kelantan it involves Tumpat, Pasir Mas, Kota Baru, Tanah Merah, Bachok, Machang and Pasir Puteh. Meanwhile, a continuous rain warning level severe, has also been issued until the same date for several areas in Kedah, Pulau Pinang, Perak, Kelantan and Terengganu. As of 9:17 a.m. this morning, Kelantan records 9,959 evacuees, with 40 PPS open in 4 districts. On a different note, a total of 20,146 flood victims are currently housed at 119 temporary relief centres, known as PPS, across 8 states, with Pahang being the latest state hit by the disaster this morning. In Selangor, the numbers of evacuees stood at 2,697 people from 740 families at 8 a.m. In Pahang, PPS has been activated, sheltering 23 victims from 10 families at Balai Raya Kampung Ulu Sungai, which began operating at 11:30 p.m. yesterday. In Terengganu, the number of evacuees has decreased to 97 people from 37 families, compared with 131 people from 54 families last night. In Pulau Pinang, the number of flood victims has dipped slightly to 366 people from 96 families at 4 PPS this morning. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim is very concerned over the increasingly severe floods affecting states. In a post on his Facebook page, the Prime Minister reminded residents in high-risk areas to stay vigilant and comply with instructions issued by the authorities. Datuk Seri Anwar stated that the National Disaster Management Agency, also known as NADMA, together with all related agency assets, has been fully mobilized to the affected areas to rescue those still trapped and ensure that immediate assistance reaches all victims. The Special Malaysia Disaster Assistance and Rescue Team, also known as the SMART Team, has also been deployed to Kelantan, which is the worst affected, and stands ready to assist other states to expedite on-the-ground rescue and emergency response operations. At the same time, the Prime Minister said the government has mobilized Squad Ihsan Madani teams to all affected areas to help manage the welfare of flood victims at nearly 100 temporary relief centres, or PPS, opened across 7 states. Continuous floods sweep across Thailand. Thousands of people have been evacuated and 1 death has been reported in Songkhla, a province in southern Thailand, amid widespread flooding. Footage from Thailand's public broadcasting service showed Hat Yai, a major commercial hub in Songkhla province, submerged in floodwater as rescue workers carried out search and rescue operations across the districts. An evacuation order was issued on Monday for all high-risk areas in Hat Yai as floodwaters surged again in the afternoon, with military and rescue teams deployed across the city. Thailand's Prime Minister has ordered a forward command centre in Songkhla to tackle severe flooding across several southern provinces, as the Deputy Prime Minister directed agencies to deploy personnel, equipment and aid to affected areas. In Vietnam, authorities started recovery efforts as the death toll from flooding had risen to 91 over the weekend, with 11 people still missing. People returned to homes strewn with debris, where they were seen retrieving belongings and setting aside sacks of rice that had been damaged by floodwaters. Rainfall exceeded 1,900 millimeters in some parts of central Vietnam over the past week. The region is a major coffee production belt and home to popular beaches, but it is also prone to storms and floods. The government estimates the flooding has cost the economy around 8.98 trillion dong. Over 235,000 houses were flooded and nearly 80,000 hectares of crops were damaged. On a related note, Malaysians are advised to postpone travel to Vietnam and Thailand due to unstable weather causing severe flooding that has affected several areas in both countries. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan stated that the situation in Vietnam is at a worrying level, particularly in inland and highland areas. He confirmed that no Malaysians have been affected by the floods in Vietnam. Datuk Seri Muhammad also advised Malaysians to postpone travel to Thailand, particularly Hat Yai, which has again been flooded following continuous rain. Coming up next, Sudan's RSF paramilitary to enter into ceasefire.
Padamkan komputer untuk lebih penjimatan.
Welcome back to World Today. The head of Sudan's Rapid Support Forces said that his paramilitaries would immediately enter into a 3-month humanitarian truce after US President Donald Trump said last week that he would intervene to seek an end to a war that has plunged the country into famine. The United States, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt and Saudi Arabia, known as the Quad, earlier this month proposed a plan, a 3-month truce, followed by peace talks. The RSF responded by saying it had accepted the plan, but soon after attacked army territory with a barrage of drone strikes. Monday's statement appeared to announce a unilateral ceasefire. It came a day after Sudan's army chief rejected the Quad's proposals and criticized the inclusion of the United Arab Emirates, which has been widely accused of arming the RSF as a mediator. Head of Sudan's paramilitary, RSF, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo's comments come at a time when the RSF has come under fire for brutal attacks on civilians in the aftermath of its takeover of the city of Al-Fasir in late October. The takeover commented its control of the Darfur region, and the force has subsequently stepped up attacks on the Kordofan region in a bid to take control of the country. Recovery work was continuing after an Israeli airstrike struck a multi-story residential building in Beirut's southern suburbs on Sunday, killing at least 5 people and wounding at least 28 people. Workers began the arduous task of repairing the building that was badly damaged in the attack. The footage shows the 5th floor of the building completely wrecked, with balconies collapsed and walls destroyed. 4 distinct missile impact marks are visible on the building's facade, while the surrounding area is littered with debris. Local shops at several levels also sustained, or rather street level, also sustained damage from the blast. The strike occurred in a densely populated residential zone without prior evacuation warnings to residents, contrary to previous Israeli operations in the area. Authorities have since cordoned off the site and initiated emergency evacuations after the disaster. This attack comes just before the first anniversary of the Lebanon-Israel ceasefire agreement. Despite the truce, Israeli operations have continued throughout Lebanon over the past year. European Council President Antonio Costa stated that the European Union will keep on supporting Ukraine as peace talks have moved forward. The bloc will continue to offer full support to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, pledging ongoing diplomatic, military and economic assistance.
We welcome this step forward, and some issues remain to be resolved, but the direction is positive. And we commend the efforts of Presidents Zelensky and Trump and their teams.
He said this in a joint statement with EU chief after an informal meeting of European leaders on Ukraine in Luanda, where they are attending an EU-African Union summit. The EU chief said that a strong European presence in Geneva has allowed to make good progress in the negotiations for peace in Ukraine, adding that there is now a solid basis for moving forward. The informal meeting in the Angolan capital comes as the United States and Ukraine held talks in Switzerland on Sunday to develop a mutually acceptable peace plan. The discussions followed an agreement to revise a U.S. proposal that Kyiv and its European allies have viewed as a Kremlin wish list. European Commissioner for Trade Maros Sefcovic expressed optimism that the European Union could finalize free trade agreements with Malaysia, the Philippines and Thailand by 2027. Speaking at a press conference in Brussels alongside Danish Foreign Affairs Minister, Šefčovič highlighted the EU's efforts to diversify its trade partnerships and open new market access for European businesses.
I expressed my hope that by 2027 we would be in a position to complete the free trade negotiations with Philippines, Thailand and Malaysia. So we are clearly diversifying as much as possible, opening new market access for our entrepreneurs, for our businesses. Everywhere we have very important chapters on managing the critical raw materials and on economic security, and I really would like to thank the Danish presidency for strong support in that regard.
Addressing questions about EU digital regulations, Šefčovič emphasized that the rules are not discriminatory or aimed at American companies, and said the Commission would continue to engage in dialogue with the US to clarify its approach.
Bersihkan penapis penghawa dingin dan tetapkan 24 darjah Celsius untuk lebih jimat.
The search for a missing Wisconsin woman who almost killed her 6th grade classmate more than a decade ago to please horror character Slenderman ended Sunday night when police discovered her sleeping outside an Illinois truck stop. Police said early Monday that Morgan Geezer, 23, was found at a truck stop in Posen, Illinois. The Madison Police Department said that Geezer had cut off her electronic monitoring device and left her group home on the capital city's west side. The department said she was last seen around 8 p.m. local time on Saturday with an adult acquaintance. Geezer was found with a 42-year-old man who was charged with criminal trespassing and obstructing identification. He has since been released from custody. Geezer was expected to appear in court in Cook County on Tuesday for a hearing on extradition to Wisconsin. Geezer's attorney, Tony Cotton, said that he did not know what happened with his client. Cotton said he had not yet spoken with Geezer and did not know what the circumstances of her departure were. 3 suicide bombers targeted the headquarters of a Pakistani paramilitary force yesterday, killing at least 3 personnel and wounding at least 5. Police said the attackers opened fire as they forced themselves into the headquarters of the Federal Constabulary in Peshawar City before blowing themselves up inside the complex. 3 paramilitary personnel were killed in the incident. A senior official said law enforcement personnel, including the army and police, have cordoned off the area and are carefully handling the situation. The headquarters of the force is located in a densely populated area of Peshawar, the capital of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The 5 wounded people, including 2 paramilitary personnel, were taken to Lady Reading Hospital to receive treatment. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack so far. Pakistan, however, blames the Afghan Taliban for harboring the militants who it said launched cross-border attacks, a charge Kabul denies. The latest attack comes less than 2 weeks after a suicide bomber struck outside a court in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, detonating his explosives next to a police car and killing 12 people. Mexican farmers and truckers blocked highways and a key border crossing as part of a nationwide strike across at least 25 states. They are demanding safer roads, fairer grain prices, and the withdrawal of a proposed water law they say threatens their livelihoods. Protesters argued the measure could give federal authorities greater control over water rights, leaving producers vulnerable and unable to sustain agricultural output. Activists warn the bill could deepen structural problems in food production and distribution if passed without consultation.
¿Cómo te podría decir? Forzar una ley que a nosotros no nos beneficia en absolutamente nada. Más bien lo que pasa que con esa ley de agua, la nueva ley de agua que le llaman, es que nos quita totalmente, nos deja indefensos 100%. Las tierras sin agua no sirven absolutamente para nada.
Similar blockades were reported in Querétaro State, north-central Mexico, where dozens of trailers jammed the Pamillas Rio Blanco toll plaza, causing traffic delays for kilometers. Protesters said they will maintain pressure until authorities review the water law, guarantee fair payments and improve security on highways, citing rising violence against transporters. Smog blanketed New Delhi on Monday, partially obscuring the Yamuna River and the city's skyline as residents faced another day with very poor air quality. Local media reported that the government-run system of air quality and weather forecasting and research recorded an air quality index, or AQI, as high as 396 in the city on Monday. According to the India Meteorological Department, the minimum temperature is also expected to dip in the coming 2 days. Delhi and surrounding districts are often covered in smog during winter, as coal dense air traps emissions from vehicles, construction sites and crop burning, pushing pollution levels to among the highest in the world. According to an order issued by the authorities, all Delhi government offices and private organizations will operate with 50% staff, with the remaining employees working remotely due to increasing pollution levels. Messi masterclass propels Miami into Eastern Conference final. But before that story, Malaysia bounced back to edge Canada 3-2 and claim their first win in the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup in Ipoh on Monday. The world number 13 now have 4 points from 2 matches after the victory at the Sultan Azlan Shah Stadium. Play was delayed by more than 2 hours due to a heavy downpour, but the Speedy Tigers made the brighter start once the match finally got underway, with forward Akimullah Anwar Isok striking a field goal in the 5th minute. But world number 20, Canada, who stunned world number 3 and 2018 world champions Belgium with a 1-1 draw on Sunday, hit back with 2 quick goals. Sean Davis levelled in the 13th minute before captain Matthew Sarmento put the Canadians ahead 4 minutes later. Malaysia, however, roared back to reclaim control, with Azrai Aizat Abul Kamal netting in the 20th minute and veteran Faisal Sari adding another via a penalty corner in the 25th. It was Faisal's first international goal since returning from a 9-month retirement. National hockey coach Sarjit Singh said his Chargers were lucky as they were almost punished by the Canadians for not taking their chances.
We allow Canada to come back. We were very lucky we were not punished from their penalty corners. They had more penalty corners than us. But if they had scored 2, we would have lost the game.
Meanwhile, Canada coach Patrick Shotsani said his team started the game a bit slow and only got going after they conceded the first goal.
I thought Malaysia started really well. We were a bit slow. They put pressure on us and conceded quite early. I thought we slowly brought ourselves back into the game.
And now we kick off into football. Saudi Arabia's Al Ahly lost 1-0 to Sharjah FC from the United Arab Emirates in Jeddah as the Asian Champions League elite title holders suffered a rare defeat in front of their own fans in the Continental Championship. Over in the United States, Lionel Messi produced a vintage performance as Inter Miami stayed on course for their first MLS Cup final appearance with a 4-0 win over FC Cincinnati. A sold-out crowd of just over 26,000 had packed Cincinnati's TQL Stadium, hoping to see the home side score an upset over Javier Mascherano's star-studded Inter team. However, Argentine superstar Messi scored once and provided the assists for all Inter's other goals, with Tadeo Allende scoring twice and Matteo Silvetti adding the other to send Miami into next Saturday's Eastern Conference Championship. Miami will next face New York City FC in the final. On Monday's evidence, third-seeded Miami will head into next weekend's fixture brimming with confidence after laying on a performance of pace and precision to dispatch second seeds Cincinnati. The winners of next weekend's Eastern and Western Conference finals meet in the MLS Cup Championship game on the 6th of December. In the second Eastern Conference semi-final, Maxi Morales scored in the 27th minute as visiting number 5 seed New York City FC defeated the top seed and Supporters' Shield champion Philadelphia Union 1-0. The Citizens went in front on an attack that began when Tavon Gray dribbled past one opposing player and then sprung Agustin Ojeda with a ball down the right. Ojeda cut across to the inside of his defender on the dribble and then played a pass toward the top of the box for Nicolas Fernandez, who received it and slotted another quick diagonal ball that Morales ran onto and neatly finished past Andre Blake from close range. Matt Freese made 5 saves to keep his third clean sheet off the MLS Cup playoffs and send the Citizens to their third conference final in 5 seasons. This one comes after losing team-leading regular season goal scorer Alonso Martinez to a reported torn ACL injury suffered during the November international window, and midfielder And that wraps up World Today. In our top story, Prime Minister heads home after successful 3-country visit. Tune in to Malaysia Tonight, coming up at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM. Until then, my name is Daryl Baptist. Salam Malaysia Madani, and I hope you all are staying safe from the rain. Good day, Malaysia.
Thalassemia adalah sejenis penyakit genetik yang mengakibatkan gangguan dalam proses pembentukan sel darah merah. Secara umumnya, thalassemia boleh dibahagikan kepada 2 kategori, iaitu pembawa dan pesakit thalassemia. Status thalassemia hanya boleh diketahui dan disahkan melalui ujian saringan darah. Dapatkan khidmat nasihat daripada pegawai perubatan di klinik kesihatan berhampiran anda.
Selamanya cahaya membangunkanku dari suramnya mimpi ngeri, menuntun hatiku ke palung asmara, seakan ku hidup kembali dari matiku. Engkaulah cinta yang selama ini aku cari.
Patut minggu lepas keluar, sekarang pun nak keluar.
Siapa kau? Tangisan si betul. Tengok. Bo, kenapa tak buat skrip TV je ni?
Bo, buatlah untuk drama TV. Sekarang banyak stesen TV kan.